Hi, I'm Anthony Guillen. I'm the Director for Ethnic Ministries and the Missioner for Latino Hispanic Ministries for the Episcopal Church. I'm part of the presiding bishop's staff, and I live in Ventura, California. And I have to say that the first person that comes to mind about who formed me was my father. When we were little, there were 7 of us kids, and we lived in a wooden frame house in Texas. It was hot and muggy in the summertime, and after dinner, we would sit on the floor of the kitchen by the back door with a screen door, so we got a little breeze, and my mother would do the dishes, and maybe my older sister, but the rest of us would sit around my dad while he drank a cup of coffee, and every night he would tell us stories. We either heard a Bible story or we heard morality stories. And I remember so many of them to this day. I mean, I can tell them in Spanish. And it was just, he was an incredible storyteller. We knew all the stories after a while, and and this went on for year after year. Almost every night, we heard stories from my dad. Stories of his childhood, stories of the Mexican Revolution that his father had told him, Bible stories, and these morality stories that always had sort of a teaching at the end. So he was a major person in terms of my formation. He also was a person of prayer. For a while, we didn't do this real long. I don't remember how many years we did it, but it may have only been during Lent, but it seemed like it was all the time. On Friday nights, we would all get on our knees. We had hardwood floors, all these little kids, my dad with a rosary, and we would do the rosary in Spanish. And it was Friday after Friday. It seemed like this happened all of my youth. It didn't. I think we only did it during Lent, but we did it for a time. But again, that was that was a very formational part about praying. Even when you were uncomfortable and you hated doing it, there was something beautiful about us doing that together as a family. And the third part about my father, his name was Jesus, by the way, is that he did a cursillo when I was a kid. He was, back in I was born in the 50s, so this one might have been early 60s. Right. He made his cursillo. And at cursillo, they gave him a little prayer book. It was kind of an aqua green cover. I remember it. And I don't remember if it was English or Spanish. I think it was in Spanish. And it had like personal devotions. And my dad, Monday through Friday, when he went to work, when he would come home from work, us kids would, we'd run out, we'd hear the pickup, we'd hear the pickup, coming around the corner, we'd all run out to meet Daddy, and he'd open the door, and he'd acknowledge us and pat us on the head or whatever, and then he would close the door, and it doesn't matter if it was raining, if it was hot, if it was cold, he sat in his pickup, and in his glove box, he would put out his little prayer book, and he would say his daily evening prayers before he got out of the truck and went home. And we knew to leave him alone. He said his prayers every evening before he got out of his truck to have dinner and to visit with us. So, and that little book after a while started to fall apart. So he took some cellophane or some plastic thing and he wrapped it and he had it all stapled up. And I to this day, I don't know what happened. He died a few years ago. The one thing I would have loved to have from my father would be that prayer book. I remember it so well, and it was. And again, he was a person of prayer, and that really formed me tremendously.
Amen.